Right. So, as always, guys, we kind of end the show with our last segment of Christianity. This week, as our co-star coming on is Retro Rewind Podcast, RRP. Every time I think of your name, I think of, like, is it the Beastie Boys? You down with RRP? Yeah, you know me. You down with RRP? Yeah, that's comes to my mind.
I'm vaguely familiar with that song. I'm not
Yeah.
a huge Beastie Boys fan.
Neither am I, but I know that song and that beat, and I think of your name with that song all the time. But
Awesome.
but yeah, we like to end talking in Christianity when we have a guest on. That hurts my ears. Sorry, got fuzz. Yeah, and you would think, like, why would anybody want me as a worship leader? It's because I have amazing beats like that. But we're gonna do our spotlight. What'd you say?
You play guitar also.
Yeah, I do. My guitar is like
It's remarkable. So, I mean, I can't. I played trumpet in high school band, but guitar is cool.
yeah.
Mm.
I'll be doing a lot more worship stuff as I'm taking over worship now as well at my church. So starting like
Cool.
next like in 2 weeks, depending on what I do with my travel stuff. But anyways, so we like to do a segment in our Christianity called Spotlight. It's where we take a moment to zoom in on our guest here and really just ask them two main questions and give them the freedom to go wherever they want with it. One is how they came into personal faith and relationship with God. Again, all our guests that we bring on here are fellow Christians, because we're looking at all the news of the week through a Christian lens. So it'd be kind of interesting to not have a Christian. And maybe for a special episode, we might bring one that isn't. But mainly, also, yeah, all of our guests are Christian. Secondly, how they got on this platform, how they got on Twitch or whatever, Mixer, whatever site they're on. Retro is here on Twitch as well. But how they got into it, because I always find it interesting on like where their names come from. And everyone kind of has a story on like my cousin introduced me to Twitch, my family member did, whatever it may be. I just love hearing that. And this is honestly my favorite part of this whole show is just having this time to get to know people like Retro, who's been around, and has watched the show. And I've been in his streams and it's just been around the community, but we never have a full great moment to just sit and do this. And so I hope this blesses you guys. I hope you guys, of all of these things, pay attention the most to this, because I do think there's something in it that's part of Retro's testimony and life that God has for us in this. So Retro, take it away. Like I said, if you want to start with that first question of just what's your life story? What's your testimony here?
Okay. So, and I'm going to do my best. Sometimes I can go long and give way too much backstory.
That's
so
fine. We're giving you like a pretty good amount of time. We're giving you like a half hour. So you have the show typically goes to 10
hours. So no,
yeah.
buckle up. Lord of the Rings coming at you.
Yeah. Extended edition.
Exactly.
Which
So,
he hasn't seen, by the way.
I haven't.
I have.
No,
Jay.
I haven't.
Oh! I'm like,
That was probably I said that he hasn't seen yet. So.
search my name. I've seen all the extended editions. That's okay, Jay. We forgive you.
Thank you.
You can still be a brother in Christ.
Thank you.
Hello. So yeah, you guys have heard Jay and can call me Retro mainly. My name is Francisco. Also, I go by either. But I was raised Presbyterian. My mom was Presbyterian growing up, and she sort of raised me and my brothers up Presbyterian. My dad was raised Catholic. He was a believer. I don't think he holds to Catholicism much anymore, but mainly we were raised Presbyterian. How I came to Christ is sort of a threefold story, and I was thinking about it this morning. I'm like, oh, this kind of has a similar rhythm to God bringing people into the world and choosing Israel, and then bringing Christ to save everyone. So it's not that close similarity, but you might see what I'm talking about here in a second. So the first thing that sort of brought me into sort of, I guess, fellowship, or just made me more aware of God and that I wanted to follow him, was, again, raised in the church. But when I was 7 or 8, I went to vacation Bible school. This would be in Riverside, California. We moved around because my mom was in the Air Force, so we moved around with her, me and my brothers. So I'm talking about me right now. I was in vacation Bible school at 7, and there's some craft project. It probably was a culmination of the whole VBS weekend, week. But there was this, I remember vividly, this one art project we were doing. there is like a, I don't know, this balsa wood type frame with a hole cut out of it, so that we were like painting pictures or drawing pictures, and then those would go in the hole for this balsa wood frame. I feel like it was like candle holder too or something. I don't know what it was, but the main thing was that we were making a picture. And I remember making this blue cross with these geometric like sun rays, like these diamond sun rays that I colored yellow, and just something about that, me creating that, and I just had some experience that God made me, and I wouldn't be able to articulate this then, but as I look back on it, the emotions I was feeling, I was like, yeah, I was made, and God's creative. He's made me to be creative. And it's just, I'm so thankful that Jesus did what he did for me. So that was like stage one. So sort of the creation or being creative. Stage two is when I was living in Colorado Springs. We are in a Presbyterian church, and in Presbyterian churches, you get confirmed similar to I think Catholicism does the same thing, where you do like some catechisms and you learn church history, you learn about church governance in the presbytery, and then you confirm that yes, I believe that Jesus is my Lord and Savior, and you do like just a little thing in front of the church and confirming all that. So I did that, and I think again I said I was 12 when that happened, and I totally believed in Jesus and what he had to say, but there wasn't really, it was very like following the rules, like, oh, I gotta follow the rules, these are the rules I need to have in my life,
to
the
have legalism aspect of it.
What was that?
So the legalism more so,
exactly.
Like,
and I wasn't super legalistic. I mean, I still had I was still a kid, and my faults and what have you. But that was the more legalistic. This is kind of like, I'm getting my my insurance to make sure I don't go to hell. That's sort of outlook on Christ.
Right.
Not a super strong relationship. I mean, I certainly would have said I still love Christ, and I mean, I still love Christ, but loved him and whatnot. But my mentality was way different. Mm-hmm. Then fast forward from there into college. I go to college at California State University, Northridge. Go Matadors! And it's they like have no sports teams. I mean, they had a pretty good basketball team at some point. Anyway, that's beside the point.
Still a better mascot than my college. We were the Archers, and not like bow and arrow, green arrow. We were like literally an arch.
Wait.
Okay, I do feel better. Thank you, Jay.
You're welcome. Because at Moody, there's like outside, there's a really obvious archway, long hall. Mm-hmm. So they decided to model it after that, and our mascot's named Archie. But again, not an archer. It's literally an arch.
All right.
Interesting.
The more you know.
Anyways, back to Spotlight.
No worries. I had no idea. That's cool, Jay. So I was going to Cal State Northridge. I lived on campus my first couple of years, and so I get to school. It's before classes start. I get to my dormitory, and one of my roommates is this guy named Paul, and he's a youth pass.
What? This Paul? The Paul?
I'm getting to it. I'm getting to it, Ken.
Don't ruin it, Ken.
All right.
There's this guy named Paul, and he's a youth pastor, and he's loves God and is and we get to know each other. We become friends, and I'm always like asking him questions. Hey, what do you think about how is it that God could make a rock that so big he can't move it? Can he do that? And all these sort of like silly, fun questions, esoteric questions sometimes, but just the ability to ask these questions, have a dialogue, and know that I wasn't going to be judged about my questions or anything like that, or whether it was serious or ridiculous. That whole process of making this friend and having these late night discussions about God, about our faith, about whether the two messengers in the book of Revelation, everyone who puts the S on the end, Revelation, what the two messengers are they going to be? Are they people? Are they angels? Are they robots? We don't know, but just speculate about stuff like that. That's where I really felt like my faith was really solidified during that time. And like, yeah, I definitely believe what I believe, and I certainly am, as I'm getting close to 40 now. I'm almost 40. I certainly am realizing there's even more I don't know, and I'm even growing more in my faith and understanding, as it seems to perpetually be more and more I don't understand. But that time during college would be when I really felt freedom, and that's where I think I felt at that point in my life closest to Christ. So that's how I came to Christ in 3 parts.
There you go. Drawing you in closer.
Exactly.
That's cool. And what were you going to school for at the time? Did you say?
Originally, I went to school for computer science because back in the day, back in the good old 1999s, they didn't have, there was one school where you could go and get like a video game design degree, which I think up in Washington. Do they still have DigiPen up in Washington, Ken?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
So that's where I wanted to go, but I chickened out because it's too far away from home. So I went to Cal State Northridge to get a computer science degree. And the long and short of it, I always give this example as why I just could not do computer science. Is one of these classes they wanted us to take like 4 hours to write code so that we could get a square root of a number. Just so mind-numbingly boring. I just could not take it. So I actually learned from my friend Paul. He had a friend who designed his own major using classes that the college already provided to create something that the college didn't have as a major. So I had been dabbling in making my own website on GeoCities at the time. And I really liked the culmination of code and visuals that web design was. So I was able to cobble together and submit a application to do a special major or for web design at my university. So that's my diploma says like special major web design, Bachelor of Arts. So that's what I ended up going. I changed majors to that.
Awesome.
So is Paul the Paul we know, the master interrupter?
So can I go ahead with the next part? How I got onto Twitch and all that?
Oh,
Yeah. So we'll get into that. So how did you get into the platform? What really got you wanting to make Retro Rewind podcast? Where does the name come from? Answer all in any of those.
All right. So here's where Paul comes back into the picture. So I'm down in California still. Me and Paul, good friends. Then I get married, still in California. Eventually, me and my wife, Christy, decide we want to. The life in California is a bit too hectic. When we have kids, we want to raise them somewhere with a slower pace. And she's originally from Oregon, so we decided. And I have extended family in Oregon, so we decided to move up to Oregon. And so we move up there. And when we're there, when we get up here, we're still here now. I try to keep in touch with Paul, but him and I only talk it got to the point where I think we were talking maybe every 6 months or so. And he's like my best friend. We're best men at both our own weddings. He has best man at mine, I has best man at his. So we were really close. And so I was sad that we're losing this connection. But every time we did talk, we would always talk about movies because that was our thing. We enjoyed talking about movies, just hashing like what movies we liked, what about them we liked, etc. So I had started another podcast at the time because I was preparing. I found out we were pregnant, me and Christy, and so I was going to do this podcast about being a dad and stuff like that. That since pod faded, but in the midst of me doing that podcast, I sort of learned how to podcast. And believe me, I'm getting to Twitch in a minute.
Was it called? I'm just interested in what the old one was going to be. What was it called? Was it Dadcast?
No, it's called Dad's Voice Podcast. It had the idea of me as a dad having a voice, God having a dad's voice to me. So it's gonna have that spiritual element, my own sort of personal element. Anyway, it was.
When I have kids, I'm totally stealing that idea. As I have kids and run out of content ideas,
go for it.
New segment.
The problem for me with it was I was generating it all on my own. Like I was doing all the booking for guests, which were really just friends at the time, but still booking guests, still learning the whole podcast dynamic, how to do episodes and all that. Yeah. So it just really like was draining that I was hosting it, producing it, doing all this stuff pretty much on my own.
Yeah, well, I don't think Ken's ever gonna die. He's made it this long, so I'll have to start paying him eventually. But but as long as I have Ken, I think I could do pretty much anything. Matt and Ken, I think.
Exactly. So
going.
yeah, that sort of team leadership that you guys do here and all of GMA does, I think is really crucial. And so I think to having a show or ministry that goes the distance. Anyway, so eventually one day I asked Paul, hey, what do you think about us doing a podcast together? We seem to always talk about movies. How about you and I do a podcast about movies? And so we talked about like what it would be. We decided we'd talk about old movies, but what if we run out of old movies? Okay, well, so we'll do it. So it's everything that's 15 years or older. So we can perpetually have newer movies as the years go by, but we can still focus on the older ones, which we pretty much want to focus on. So thus Retro Rewind podcast was born. That was we'll be hitting our 8-year anniversary this coming November. We just had our 200th episode. We release every other week. That's why it's not a lot more episodes, but
right.
So somewhere along the way in that, I forget when, I decided, I want to give this live streaming thing a try. I mean, why not? I like playing games, and we cover some games on the podcast too. And so I'm like, okay, let's see what this is like. So I get on my YouTube and do a live stream. I think I did one of my first live streams was for the game Metal Slug 2, which is a side-scrolling shoot 'em up.
I remember Metal
game.
Slug.
Yeah. So I played that and I had fun, and I think some people watched. And then I went on to play this indie game called Cave Story, which I don't know if any of you guys have played that. It's 8-bit pixels, Ken, so you probably don't like it, but I really enjoyed it. So I played those on YouTube, and I was having fun. I was getting a little bit of an audience, but nothing dramatic. But my brother, Kitos, I have 3 younger brothers. He's the youngest. He had been streaming on Twitch for a while, and I had tried Twitch once, and I don't know anyone who maybe came to Twitch and then was like, nah, this isn't for me, and then maybe eventually came back. This was my experience. I came to Twitch, went to a streamer, and it's just like waterfall of chat. I'm like, what? Right. Why would anyone watch this? This is not interesting at all. So I'm like, never mind, no Twitch. But then he said, no, give it another try, or I forget, or I think it was him and someone else. I decided, no, I'll give Twitch another try. And so I started streaming. I got really into, sometimes I dive deep on like, okay, how can I do this to the best of my ability? So I watched the main streamer I watched to learn the art of streaming was a guy. His channel is Say No to Rage. He does a lot of Destiny 2 streaming.
Destiny guy,
Destiny now, Destiny 2. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And he did these stream talks. He's changed the name throughout the years, but he just did a lot of stuff that really connected with me, and I think I felt connected to him because he was a dad too, so he had some of that same experience of like what it's like to stream when you have family and all that. So he just, for whatever reason, I really resonated with what he had to say, and so I felt like I took a lot of what he had to say to apply to my stream, and I've been since just trying to learn as much as I can. That's one of my strengths, is learning.
Yeah.
So I just do my best to learn all I can to stream. So long story short, way too late, I became a Twitch streamer November 2018, somewhere around there.
Okay.
So I've been on Twitch for about 2 years now, and now we've been, again, good community, and it's a lot of fun. I'm so glad to be over here making friends like you guys and new friends. Like I have a friend in Finland now, someone in Brazil. It's really crazy getting to know so many people across the globe that I never would have met otherwise.
And is that Mysterio?
Yeah, that's Mysterio. Exactly.
Yeah.
Ken's like, I know your friends.
Well, no, because he's on my stream too, and I wrote down the fact that I chat with him now and then. He's also now called Savato. So
exactly.
And I think that's probably one of the coolest parts of Twitch is just that communal feeling of it, and being able to know people like everywhere,
Exactly. Yeah.
With the hopes of one day really like getting to meet them,
Exactly. And I love when I find out someone's a believer. Like usually a lot of the people that watch me are believers. I'm one of these people. I don't know if it's sometimes I wonder if it's me having a chip on my shoulder, and maybe it is that. I hope it's not.
It
But
probably is. No, I'm just kidding.
Thanks.
I don't even know what it is yet.
Oh my god.
I don't know what it is yet. So
Pastor diagnosis. There you go.
But I tend to be someone who has sort of the Switchfoot mentality in regards to my streaming and podcasting, where Switchfoot's a band. For those that don't know, they do mainly rock music. But they're openly Christian, but they're not a Christian band. They make music that has Christian themes, but they don't make Christian music. And so that's sort of the mentality I try to take as me and Paul work on Retro Rewind podcast, and as I work on the Retro Rewind pod stream, is that I'm Christian. I'm open about my faith and share my faith. I pray for people when they leave my stream, when they say bye-bye. I pray for people when they leave, but that's not like the focal point. Christianity is not like the focal point of my stream. It's about this other thing. It's like, I want the movies and all that to be the soil that seeds can germinate in, I guess. And if that makes sense, I think that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
So so it's weird though. Sometimes I wonder, would I be more effective at sharing the gospel if we were Christian centric? But I don't know. As of right now, I feel like this is how we should be doing the show and doing the stream.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. And I think it's the different sections, right? Like, cause I do something similar to where, like something like this, it's like very evident, like, yes, unabashedly we're Christians. This is like our take on how we think of these movies or whatever. And like, as Christians, we try to model how we should be in taking some of this. Is there something wrong with watching a rated R Home Alone, or whatever? And then ending with our spotlight section here. But there's other streams, or like even right after this, when I do trials carries, where I'm not, I don't mind some profanity in terms of like, if I'm picking up random people and I'm playing games with them, like I let them know, hey, I'm streaming, we're family friendly, and out of respect, if you could, limit it, great. But I'm not gonna like be a hard dictator, of, hey, if you let it out or it slips or whatever, I'm not gonna like censor it. And that's because I really want to be able to reach those people and, just build a community and build relationship with them of like, you could still have community here. Like, I don't expect you to clean yourself up perfectly and present yourself to me as like a perfect person, because the reality is we're all broken, we're all sinful, in hopes that they'll come check out this part of the show, in hopes that they'll watch our YouTube videos and other things. So I think it's okay to have different aspects of your ministry or different parts of your show, like you're saying, that are mainly, hey, I'm gravitating and I'm letting the movies speak for themselves. I'm letting people relate to me on this common ground that we have, in hopes that, they'll ask me deeper questions, in hopes that when you're live streaming or doing something else that isn't the actual podcast, that they'll want to hear more from you. Cause I do think that's super effective.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
That's super cool, man. That's awesome. Thank you so much for being on and doing all this. You did perfect, I think. Like, the timing was right as well. Yeah.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun, guys. Thank you so much for having me.
But I want to give you a second here. I know you guys have other things going on. It's Friday morning, and even though we're all locked in quarantine, everybody has schedules of some kind. So I want to make sure I honor that and respect that of you guys. But before you guys go, I want to give you guys a moment to tell everyone watching. We have like 34 people in here right now, I think. What are you guys planning on doing next? Where are you guys gonna be streaming? Retro, we'll start with you because you just kind of came off telling us about your movie reviews. Where's the best place for people to find you and to get a hold of you?
So to find the podcast, go to RetroRewindPodcast.com. You were also on Apple Podcasts, Google, we're not on Spotify. It's the one place we're not at. We're on pretty much everywhere else, every other podcaster though. So go check that out. We have over 200 episodes for you to enjoy. Thank you for sparing that super shout.
That's definitely like a trials thing that like I've noticed. I've just gotten in the habit of doing now too, because that's what other people do. They're just like, spam it 10 times so everybody sees it.
Yes.
As one of your mods, we're supposed to ban people who spam like that.
Yeah. It's okay if they have the little camera symbol next to their name though.
Oh, that makes it okay. Yeah. Got it.
Do as they say, not as I do.
For me. So yeah, that's a great place. Pretty much all our links are there on RetroRewindPodcast.com. You can listen from the website too if you don't want to get a podcatcher or what have you. then for the stream, we stream Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, Tuesdays, starting at 7 p.m. Pacific, where I'm trying to beat every let me see if I can pull it out here. Every game that comes stock on the NES Mini.
Oh,
I'm
the
trying to
mini.
beat.
Nice.
Yeah, there's 30 games on there that I'm trying to beat. I've beaten 2 so far, so that's what I do on Tuesday nights. Friday nights, like tonight, I'm going to be creating pixel art. I'm really into pixel art. I love the 8-bit and 16-bit graphics, even though Ken hates them.
I love them too.
that art form. Yeah, exactly. So I actually create those. I do emotes in pixel art. I do other things. So that's what I'm going to be doing tonight, starting at 8 p.m. Pacific on Fridays. And Fridays, we alternate pixel art or live recordings of our podcast. So next Friday, we'll be recording the podcast live.
That's cool.
And then Saturday nights, starting at 7 p.m. Pacific, I'm doing similar to Nintendo Quest here, except it's with the Super Nintendo, which I've beaten 15 games. I've beaten 15 games so far. So trying to beat all 21 games that are on that system.
Nice.
So that's what my streaming schedule is like. And you can find Twitter, Facebook, Twitch. It's all Retro Rewind Pod.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you so much for being on again.
Thank you again for inviting me. It was great.
Yeah. Ken, what about you? Where can the good people find you? What are you doing next?
Well, I was going to mention Godfuzz, but now that he's calling me out, I'm not going to mention him at all. Okay, so
you're not going to mention the fact that he's streaming now and he just got affiliate status or anything like that. We're just going to totally ignore him.
Oh, congrats, Godfuzz.
I was literally going to think about what I'm doing at 5 p.m. today, and then he goes that first. I'm like, wait a minute, I can't succumb to his pull like that, calling me out like that. 5 p.m. I'll be playing with Godfuzz some Valorant. He is doing a charity stream. He's got a terrible chair. I know, and Francisco mentioned about his chair. Godfuzz has a terrible chair, and so he's trying to raise money. But I'm gonna do that. But then, plan is that GMA is having their next community night at 6:30. They're doing bomb tag, so I'm doing that. And then at 8 o'clock, if I so choose it, I'm going to be playing some Fallout 76. Tomorrow, myself, Sir Jaziel, and Solomon do our show. We've now renamed it the Trinity MMO Show. It's a kind of fun way late. The fact that there's 3 of us, okay? We're Christians, so there's the Trinity there, okay? And as MMOs, it's the Holy Trinity of heal, DPS, and tank. So we're like, so that's our show. And so we'll be talking about MMO stuff. So that's tomorrow at 6 o'clock p.m. Pacific time. So, and then after that, I'll be probably playing some Elder Scrolls Online. And I just enjoy hanging out with people, and people ask questions. I get people who ask a lot of different questions. I had some guy who keeps asking me, like, do you think that human beings can transfer their consciousness from one body to another body? I'm like, no, not outside of God, right? But anyway, so yeah.
Nice.
Who my cat?
Godfuzz, I hope you use this opportunity as you do your fundraiser for the chair to entitle the goal "Baby Got Back." That way, I think it'll help a ton if you just name it "Baby Got Back" goal. Save your back. Do it. But yeah, you guys, we're going to be streaming a little bit longer here. I'm going to let these guys go. I'm going to take literally like a 30-second break only. And then we're going to come back. We're going to hang out for a little bit. I think I'm mainly just going to do it just chatting, unless a ton of people want to do trials. But yeah, so we're just going to hang out. We're going to chat, talk, see how you guys are doing, what your plans you guys have for the weekend. So yeah, let you guys think about what you heard here. If there's anything that stuck out to you guys, we're streaming today. We'll be live again tomorrow. And then officially this week, it's so nice. I get to resume all my full status of streaming back to normal. And I'm really going to try to be editing these episodes down for us to be able to consume over on YouTube. So if you guys aren't subscribed to me on YouTube yet, make sure you guys go over there and subscribe. I put a sermon out every single Sunday that is like for my youth, but also for you guys. And then also we'll be putting this out along with a few other videos that I have coming out throughout the week. So super excited. I've been like just spending the last 2 weeks like really learning how to get more efficient at my editing, and even bringing other people on to help with some of it. So I'm super excited for where we're going to be going.
There's a hand raised here.
Yes.
I was waiting.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, this is for me, and maybe anyone else that's just watching now and doesn't hear me out regularly. Where can people watch past episodes of this? Is there like an official podcast feed, or like you said, it might be on YouTube? But...
That was the goal. So okay, behind the scenes stuff right here, this moment. So initially, when I started GMA, or not start GMA, when I started Hear Me Out, and we were in GMA, they had asked me early on, could we take the audio of Hear Me Out and put it on a GMA official site for, podcast release?
Mhm.
Like, sure, go for it. We have, and so because of that, I never really released them elsewhere. So that was kind of like, okay, I'm not going to release just the audio. So I did start releasing like full videos of it on the YouTube channel, but they seem to be too long for people to want to just sit and watch all of it at once.
Right.
So what I decided I'm going to start doing now is chopping them up based off sections. So like if you're interested in the trailer section, I have like the 20 minutes of us talking trailers. If you're interested in movie news, like have that. If you're interested in gaming, and then like have that. Cause I really do think like they're really great topics all together. But individually, they kind of stand on their own anyway. So that's the goal. You guys could find all of these on YouTube to watch the past ones in case you missed the 10 a.m. show here that we do. But yeah, so then,
I don't think we're put these on a GMA podcast site.
Yeah, so I would love to move in that direction if GMA isn't gonna. Sorry, there's like a really loud truck driving by.
That's the one thing about me making this a GMA show too, and put it on the calendar for GMA also. Like I tout it all the time, but it's not on the GMA calendar for week to week because it's not a GMA branded show. But
right. So Retro, I'd love to get your help on figuring out how to move my stuff onto audio. But and so guys, so be live later on, rest of today for a little bit longer. Be back tomorrow, just doing Destiny and Trials carries, and then on Sunday night I don't stream myself, but we do a GMA branded show called Pastors After Dark, answering the questions you've always wanted to know but never wanted to ask. And so this week we are talking about could Jesus have sinned? We're kind of picking up from last week. Because we took off Mother's Day weekend and just had everyone enjoy time with their moms. And so this week we are resuming me, Pastor Dustin, Father Ironheart, Dr. Heels, Ferris Storm, and I think we might have...
I heard Dr. Tanner, right?
Dr. Tanner, Pastor Tanner, yeah.
I
was like, wait, he got his doctorate, so I wasn't looking?
No, sorry. Pastor Tanner, sorry.
Yeah, I think Pastor Tanner is taking Ironheart's place, if I'm not mistaken, this week. So still 5. But we'd love to have you guys there. We'd love to have you guys be a part of that conversation, and that'll be on the GMA official channel. But I upload those to my YouTube channel as well, the full conversations for everyone to be able to watch and see.
Yeah.
But yeah, Kings, this was we do a Friday morning news show where we cover all the news of all the topics you see right below here. We talked about brand new trailers that came out, the new Batman movie coming out, Twitch getting its advisory board, Zoom creating new fan base, and Spotlight stuff. So, but thank you guys so much. I'm going to let these guys go because we're now 6 minutes over. But I want to spend a few minutes in prayer, and then I'll go on commercial for a second here and let these guys go, and I'll be back in a few seconds. So, Retro, would you mind praying for us as we end this?
No, that'd be fine. Lord God, thank you so much for this time together. Thank you for the technology that allows us to be able to interact across far distances and be able to speak life into one another, be able to just talk about fun things that ultimately don't matter, but they involve people that do. Thank you so much, Lord, for Jay and Kennethan, and for all the people here watching in chat. I pray that you would bless our weekends, that you would refresh us in them, or for anyone that is working, may they have a good work days ahead. And please, Lord, prepare us all for this coming week and give us opportunities to glorify you. Amen.
Amen. All right.
And thank your wife for letting us to happen too.
I will do that. I will. Thank you.
So as tradition, we usually let